Good afternoon. So when I was younger, I can't exactly remember how old I was. Maybe anywhere between 7 to 10. I decided I was going to jump out of my bedroom window. Just I just decided that it sounded like a good idea to me. So I went upstairs, opened my bedroom window, looked outside, got a little scared, and eventually I jumped out the window. When my mom realized what was happening, she came to me and said, "Why did you do that? Why would you jump out the window?" And I said, "I don't know." That's the topic of this video. The question of why. As a therapist, I actually really despise the word why. That as a therapist, that is my pet peeve, is asking someone why they did something. A lot of times when I speak to people, they tell me they think that they think when people say that they don't know why they did something, that they're just trying to find an excuse. They're just trying to cop out. If I'm going to be really honest, a lot of people do not know why they engage in certain behaviors. I certainly did not know why. I thought it was a good idea to jump out of the second story window. Luckily, I wasn't harmed. I didn't break any bones. I got my feelings hurt when I got in trouble a little bit later. Par for the course, right? Much easier to get forgiveness than permission. Anyone under 18, please do not take that as excuse. Don't do that. However, at that time, it was a different time. That's what happened. So asking someone why likely is not going to get you where you're hoping to go. I would suggest changing why to what. What were you hoping to gain out of that behavior? How did you benefit from jumping out of the window? I have no idea what my younger self would have said. However, I am actually quite interested in the type of answers I would have come up with, because they likely would have been closer to the truth. Now, if I were to use my therapy brain, I jumped out of the window on impulse. I saw someone do it on TV. I thought that looked kind of fun. So without playing the tape through, without thinking through the potential consequences of my actions, I jumped out the window. Is that something I would do now? Not unless there was a very pressing reason. I can tell you that much. But my point is, so often we get angry when we ask people why they've done something or why they did not do something. And what you likely have found is when you say that to someone, well, why didn't you XYZ? Well, you should have known that this is what I wanted. Why didn't you just do it? I'm sure you have found that once you've done that and you've posed a question in that way, the person you are speaking with is likely going to get defensive. When you ask someone why, it already sets up expectation. It means you should have already known. Now, I'm not here to debate whether you should or shouldn't have known. I could say to my younger self, you were old enough to know that you should not have jumped out of a second story window. I think most people can agree on that. I can agree on that. I can concede that point. And I jumped out the window. So regardless of if I should have known better or not, doesn't take away from the fact that I jumped out the window. Perhaps asking, well, what did I gain from that? Well, I got to try what I saw on TV. What did you gain out of it? Absolutely nothing. I was terrified and I ended up getting in trouble. I gained absolutely nothing from it. What did you learn from that? I learned that it's likely not a good idea for me to jump out the window again unless there was a fire. That's going to get, well, that would have gotten me to where I needed to go. But asking why? So I challenge all of you. Take that, take away the why. Instead, ask yourself, what am I gaining from a behavior? Or ask someone else, my parents out there. Perhaps ask your children, how did you gain from engaging in that choice? How did that benefit you? What were the disadvantages or the things that did not work well with you engaging in that behavior and going from there? Yes, it is an extra step. Yes, it will require taking a step back and regulating those emotions. However, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Because just for my parents out there or anyone out there that is watching over others, how can you really expect someone else to know how to regulate their emotions if you don't know how to regulate your own? I'll say one more thing. A lot of times the question why comes up when there's a trauma or a loss. I know when I lost my father, I wanted to ask why, and I believe I actually did. However, sometimes there is no why. Sometimes it just is. Doesn't mean that you like it. It doesn't mean that you agree with it. However, accepting the fact that sometimes it just is. Well, I'm sure this will come back up. I challenge and encourage everyone out there to be mindful of how often you find yourself asking why. And then see if you're able to just switch that word. Instead of why, ask what. Or maybe throw in a how. Go from there. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this video to be informative. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or leave me a comment. Please keep yourself safe, nice and healthy, and peace and love.